Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and encrypting memories of lore that will haunt your dreams along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Evolved on Patreon for everything Evolved has to offer. Visit evolvedhalo.com. This episode, we're debriefing the repository mission from Halo Infinite. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
They should have named this mission Expository.
Expository expositions.
Exposition.
Yes. Many stories are being told. Getting all the
game was like, yeah, we haven't told any stories, so now we're going to tell it all right now.
Last mission was the Command Spire. Sassy Weapon helped Awkward Master Chief navigate the annals of the Command Spire in order to finally shut down the Reformation. Adjutant Resolution inserted himself in the path yet again. Mech Suit Monitor Boss Fight 2.0 went as well for him as it did the first time. Now in Repository, with the pilot in hand, Escharum finally has the bait necessary to lure Master Chief into a 1v1. While Chief and the weapon make their way towards the War Chief's location, Cortana's tyranny is exposed. The weapon is treated to a series of holographic data cluster exposition that shows Cortana's path of destruction and the true nature of the young AI's origins. The date of the game is May 28th, 2560. All right. This one we could spend a lot of time on, but we're not going to spend as much time on because we're going to forego the walkthrough. We're going to just jump around and talk about a couple of the highlights in terms of the encounters. There's a lot of walking. There's also a lot of nothing in terms of encounters. Some of the encounters are just kind of blah, but the area is cool that we're exploring. So I think it makes the most sense to just kind of highlight a couple of the encounters and then go back and just cover all of the story stuff, because this is like packed full of story, this mission. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. I will start with David. Is there anything in particular, any areas that stood out in your mind in terms of interesting encounters, interesting rooms, anything of that nature?
Well, it's kind of a blur for the beginning because it's kind of blah until you get into Banished, and you're like, okay, now it kind of picks up. So there's one or two kind of Banished rooms that really a lot of big ass brute captains with big weapons.
Yeah, it's true.
But I like they give you a ton of stuff. There's rocket launchers in here. There's a lot of weapons hanging around. You can have a lot of fun in some of the rooms. They're kind of very similar. They kind of merge into my brain together.
Mm-hmm. It's all Forerunner-y stuff, right?
It's all the same Forerunner, but some of them I like how they're set up. There's some good kind of grenade arcs and stuff like that. If you catch them coming out of a door at the right time, you can get really satisfying grenades and explosions off.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I have a room in particular, but like overall, like I did enjoy coming through some of these corridors, and you can just fly through them pretty quickly. There's one I think I shout out. It's got like a bunch of skirmishers and grunts, but loads of explosive crates.
Yeah,
and it's just a corridor. I think I had so much fun there. Of just like I shot one crate and set off a lovely chain reaction of like grunts exploding, and I had the skull on for like larger explosions, so everything was triggering everything, and it was just like, oh, this is glorious. So that's my special shout out for today.
Nice,
it's good.
Yeah, I'll go real quick and then throw it over to Krista. I do like, so in this mission is, I guess I'll mention it now, is the skull, the Grunt birthday party skull.
Oh, that was going to be mine.
Oh, it was? Okay, why don't you take
it
through then? I have a couple more other spots.
Okay, I'll tell you how I experienced this fantastic encounter. I was so happy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to do the skull. And then I looked up how to do it. I didn't read the whole way, which was great for me. So I did the thing that you had to do, which is, it involves a power seed on one side of the room, and then you have to bring it over to the other side of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put it in the thing, and then you're like, well, what the fuck did that just do? And it opens a door way later in the mission. So, fantastic. So you get to this room, and it's a very nice room. It looks like a very safe room. There's a lot of really nice things that you would think are safe, like fluffy pillows and, stuffed animals and stuff like that. It's very safe. And you see the skull in the middle of the room, and you're just so fucking delighted to see the skull that you run straight into it, and you just die because there are 4 camoed elites in it, and they don't... It's just fantastic. So, yeah, I think we all got bamboozled on that one. It was great. And then it's just like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to do this?
That was a fun trick. Did you just... I mean, I think you can get away if you have some explosive, like a rocket launcher or some... I guess you could probably get up there with a fusion coil or something like that to help.
I mean, you can kind of stand on the edge, because there are these, 2 kind of pillars you can stand on that aren't quite in the room. Mm-hmm. And then you can just kind of bait them out one by one. There's 4 of them, 1 in each corner of this little room. So you can kind of just bait them out one by one. That's kind of how I did it, because whenever you exit the room, the elites will always default to the 4 corners of the room. So, you can go in, they can frenzy you, and you can run back out, and they'll all default into that normal position.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of run in, run out, and you can kind of, get them to go where you need to go.
Yeah, they kind of go back into hiding, which is, I guess, fortunate.
It's very creative, though. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
And you get Grunt Birthday Party.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I like the multi-step skull thing, too. It's like, well, how would you find it? But, if you play enough, you figure that out. It's not too hidden. I think that the last skull is super weird and hidden, but this one isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Okie dokes. I have 2 rooms I'll mention. I guess the first one is, and maybe you guys noticed this, but the very beginning of the mission, and in this mission, I used the Sentinel beam quite a bit, because it's cheap ammo and it just wrecks.
Oh my
Sentinels.
god, yes.
They just go bye pretty easily. So I felt like I used that. Actually, I ended up I've had my fancy BR, whatever it's called, since the point of no return.
Breacher.
Yeah, and I still have it. So I was able to get through this mission every time. I had a rocket launcher and the breacher, and then I was trying to keep both of them around, and so I was juggling a sentinel beam with my breacher, and always afraid that my breacher was gonna disappear if I left it on the floor for too long. But I've been able to keep that throughout. But the sentinel beam works really well against all of the sentinels, and there's tons of ammo around. But the very beginning area, you get into this. It's this bridge area. I felt like that looked a lot like a pristine version of the Foundation mission. Remember at the very beginning, I guess the second mission? Oh, wait, see, third mission. So mission, Worship Gabragan. No, Foundation's number 2, yeah. Remember, it's kind of all destroyed when you get dropped off into the side of the ring. And there are some sentinels. You don't necessarily fight sentinels, but it seems like you're kind of walking across these catwalk bridge areas. So I thought that was a good connection or callback to that. Because here we really don't necessarily know where we are. We'll touch on the cutscene a little bit. But the weapon says, yeah, we got to figure out where we are. And meanwhile, she just, we used a portal in the previous mission to get close to Escharum. So it's interesting that she kind of just found a location that was close, but doesn't necessarily know exactly where that is.
I think she was tracking the pilot, not necessarily Escharum.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Good point. Let's see here. Oh, the other interesting room that I wanted to call out is towards the end of the mission, and it's where you need to go get power seeds in 2 rooms, and the rooms are filled with brute chieftains. But it's the room that you need to bring those power seeds up into. The way you get into that room, it feels like you kind of shuffle into the room from the side, because there's a bunch of crates and things like that that lead into the room. So it almost feels like you shouldn't be there. And I felt like that was refreshing, where instead of like just going through another Forerunner door or going through another Forerunner door and seeing this nice, room that you're supposed to be in, it felt like I was kind of sneaking in the side. And then the those encounters down below with the brutes are interesting and difficult depending on what you have with you. There's like a brute with a chieftain with a scrap cannon in one of the rooms, along with another one that has I think a hydra or something like that. Like, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But then like it brings you portal to like another room that is connected to the seed room, where you kind of go back behind. So like the design of that whole kind of that ending section, I thought was pretty good. I didn't necessarily like the fact that you had to portal around, but it made sense that you portaled kind of back to a different room that you then could enter into the seed room. So anyway, all right. Anything else you guys want to call out before we start talking story? Because there's some juicy story stuff to talk about.
Nah, give me some of that juice, Colin.
All right.
Yeah.
Start squeezing it out.
Okay. Just leave that sitting there now for a little while.
All right, you take us through the opening cutscene, because this cutscene rolled in from the previous cutscene, and it actually is right in between. It changes to Escharum, and this is the start of the new mission. So Escharum begins.
He is just staring at his hologram of the command spire. He's freaking out, but he's also, like Krista said, he's having an asthma attack. He's not in good shape. The Harbinger comes in. He's like, your plan has failed as a view, Harbinger. And she is like, the auditorium is partially rebuilt. And he's like, is it enough? She's like, she doesn't know. He's like, go find out. And he like crushes her hologram because he's angry and he's rare. And then like Jaga, I think, comes in the back here now, and pretty much saying like, I have something to cheer you up. Like, please tell me your mission was a success. He's like, yep, I have the pilot. The Master Chief will come to us. Is pretty much what he's saying. And then there's like a little bit of a kind of a weird situation here where Escharum is like, go have your fun, play around with this guy, but keep him alive. Mm-hmm. Which is weird because it kind of like amalgamates like Jaga and like the other elite who was like head of the tower, of like, weren't you the tortury elite guy?
Yeah, good point.
I felt like there was no need to kind of double up on that. But anyway, that's just something that struck in my brain. It's been a little bit weird.
Did you think that the Harbinger, like her tone, felt like she had almost lost some of her confidence because
yeah, totally.
She essentially got beat by the weapon, right? Yeah,
and it's not even clear here, like what the purpose of the auditorium is. Like, why does Escharum care?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Their alliance here just doesn't seem to match. Anyway, it cuts and fades to black, and we get another cutscene. And this is Master Chief in like a smoky area. This looked absolutely amazing on my TV. I have to tell you guys, just Chief looks up, so it's so good. Then you have Keys. He starts talking. You're like, wait a minute, Keys. He's kind of calling out Halsey here in a little kind of memory flash of cloning yourself. You've made an AI out of yourself. This is crazy. Halsey's like, it's logical. I do what it takes to ensure our survival. Ethics, we can debate the ethics should I fail. Which is pretty brutal. And then she's like, well, who's the better candidate? It's me. Do you know what I mean? I have to have one. It fades, and we get another one of her introducing Cortana to John, kind of the famous line of, she will do anything to make sure your mission is accomplished, even if that means sacrificing herself to accomplish it. You get to see Halsey like presenting Cortana, like nice purple Cortana, and the sides, and then it cuts to, what does it cut to again? Hold on, I'm talking faster than the cutscene is playing. It cuts to Cortana again, introducing herself, going, hello, I am Cortana. Kind of nostalgic because you get to see her old kind of design, and then it cuts to all the living creatures of the galaxy hear this message. It cuts to her standing real tall, delivering her speech from Halo 5. Announcing herself as the leader of the created, and we've come to lead you, don't resist, blah blah blah. It's kind of what you're saying. This is pretty cool. I like all this kind of stuff.
Can I stop you right there quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think that it seems like they skipped over some information here? So they go from Halsey saying we're doing this for the good of humanity, and like she's like, I'm gonna do anything to save humanity. I'm gonna clone myself because it's it's the only thing that we can do. And then they do a little introduction, and then they skip to like you as the viewer that Cortana is a clone of Halsey, and then they skip to Cortana all of a sudden being tyrannical Cortana.
Yeah.
More or less saying that because she's a clone of a kind of Halsey's not tyrannical, but she also thinks that she's smarter than everybody and knows more than everybody. And because she's a clone of that person, then and she's so capable, being this powerful AI, then she took that mindset to become, queen of the galaxy.
I never really put that together, to be honest.
That felt like the story that they were trying to tell there. Krista,
yeah,
did you get that at all?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard because, we know.
There's steps in between that got her to there. Like there's Ramsey isn't mentioned. A bunch of the flood encounter with the Grave Mind isn't mentioned. Like just all of the Forerunner, knowledge isn't mentioned. It's just kind of, they skip a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to put into a game that kind of has nothing to do with that stuff, right? So, right. I mean, this game has nothing to do with the Flood and nothing to do with any of the Forerunner stuff. And nothing to do with rampancy. So, I mean, if you're playing the game for the first time, is that necessary information?
Yeah.
Because if you are playing this game, you're like, well, he likes this lady. You see the lady is good, and then you're watching these cutscenes, and you progressively see her get bad, I guess. At some point, it goes into the Forerunner speech and stuff like that. I don't know. I think a new player would have a lot of questions, but I think the purpose of those questions are for them to go back and play the games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like an abridged version for the people that, I guess for both people that have played it, they kind of know, like we know what happened between A and D or Z or whatever is going on here. But there's so many rabbit holes with Halo, as we know. But anyway, that was kind of my takeaway when I watched it again today. It was like, it feels like they were trying to justify, okay, Cortana comes from a mind that thinks this way, so of course she would also think this way eventually. And maybe that is partially the case. Who knows? Anyway.
That's good.
Going,
that's
David.
Good. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, it kind of fades out with her at the end of her speech. It goes to white, and then like a really weird, huge Cortana flashes and like reaches towards you, and then you kind of wake up. You're in like a Forerunner structure. You open your palm and beam in the weapon. She's like, John's like, what just happened? Did you see that? And she says, yeah. You told me to get me close. That she said we passed through something. It felt real, very real. Just data close. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
That was what she called it. So I imagine they're like Cortana's data. Well, this kind of get revealed in the next mission, so I won't go any further than that. He kind of, where are we now? She's like, I don't know. There's a lot of noise down here or up here or just here. We need to find some place to break through. So she obviously just did like a random jump to the coordinates that she could get close to the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to figure out where we are. And then the mission kind of begins.
Yeah.
Do you want me to delve straight into the next cutscene?
Well, I was just going to mention here that throughout the mission, you're hearing whispers, and they're whispers from Cortana.
Whispery Cortana. But done properly this time, not like Halo 3.
Yeah, it's not Halo 3, so it doesn't stop you in your tracks, which Halo 3 kind of forced you into that. I'll attempt to read the whispers in between the next major, I guess, encounter or the next major cutscene. The first one, she says, it had to be this way. And then, let's see here. Then you move on, do a bunch of other stuff. Actually, that's all she says before the next one, because then we get another cutscene with Escharum. So why don't you talk about that one?
Yeah. So in the middle of the map, you get a kind of, there's a few pedestals that you place the weapon on, When you go, she says the first thing you find, she goes, interesting, the good news first. We're closed. There's a banished structure above us. And then she goes, it's big. Oh no. And then she kind of turns to John and says, there's a message here for you. And it opens up to the pilot. He's been tortured. He's in like a laser beamy spread eagle thingy, just like we met Griffin. And then he's just shouting and kind of screaming, saying, Chief, please. And then Eshram comes on and says, do I have your attention, Spartan? He's all big and huge and broody. He's just doing his whole fight promoting thing. He's pretty much just talking shit to Chief here. He's saying he will not die by my hand, but will suffer until you stand before me. And he's pretty much just calling out Chief here. He wants his big old final fight that he calls it. He kind of shitting on humans again, makes you weak, vulnerable, and defeatable. And then the message kind of ends, and the weapon is like, it has a series of coordinates. Let's go there. And that's pretty much what John is planning on doing. The weapon is like, we're going to go find him. And John doesn't really say anything. He just picks up the weapon and moves on.
Yeah, he obviously Eshram wants to fight. He's leading Chief towards him, and Chief is, I guess, okay with that at this point, because he knows that A, he does want to save the pilot, but then B, like, he does need to deal with Eshram at some point. And now that they've already figured out, stop the Reformation, now is a good time to deal with Eshram. So it all is kind of working out, I guess, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And the next cutscene is a doozy.
Yeah. Let me
Doozy.
Chris, anything to add on this?
Nah, I mean, it's kind of what we've been expecting from Eshram. He is very big and red and screams and then has an asthma attack and leaves.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, a couple more whispers between here and there. Cortana, you'll hear Cortana. It doesn't say Cortana, does it? Maybe in the... I guess
No, it doesn't.
It's just a whisper. It just says, I'm here. Yeah. I'm with you. And then you do see, I guess I'll call this out, not that we're doing a walkthrough, but you do see the silent auditorium. So you get to a point where you see this big window, and you see, they don't call it the silent auditorium, but they say, like, hey, there's the thing that we should probably, that's an important
signal.
place. Yeah. That's being rebuilt. So we will deal with that later. Another whisper before the next cutscene here. It says, I'm just my mother's shadow. I'm not what I used to be. And that was said in the Cortana mission in Halo 3.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then we get another Cortana tyrannical thing. Another cutscene.
This is great. Mm-hmm. So another pedestal, you put the weapon on, and it opens up a data cluster of Cortana in Halo 5 suit, looking at a space station that we should probably recognize. Leonidas comes up. He has Cortana, former UNSC AI. Leonidas stands with you. How should I proceed? He is the AI of the station. Cortana just goes population. Lacona Station currently holds 76 Spartan 4s. They have orders to stand against you. So this is the station where they train and make Spartan 4s. It's appeared in numerous kind of content and media. Mm-hmm. The last one I think might have been Bad Blood.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was.
Hey, real quick, I'm getting some background noise. The neighbors are getting in lawn mode. Do you think you can cut it out or not?
I can't hear it.
Yeah, you're fine. You can barely hear it. And if I'm the one talking and you're not, I can just mute you, Colin. So it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, so that's where we last saw the station. She pretty much... this is brutal, man. I wasn't expecting this. But she just goes, short-sighted fools. You've served me well, Leonidas. Your sacrifice is appreciated. And the AI goes, I understand. It's been an honor. And then he just blows up the fucking station.
Yeah.
Which is very extreme. Very dramatic. But yeah, man, Cortana was holding no fucking bars here. The weapon turns around and goes, no, she took out the training facility, those Spartans. And Jan goes, all gone. Which is kind of like, all these cutscenes are good. Because the weapon is like all of them. Why would she? Because it's all about the weapon learning. And there's a reveal that I didn't think would be a reveal, but was kind of interesting, and that happens kind of in the next one. So I don't know, you guys have anything to add here?
Yeah,
Meh.
I'll chime in. It seems like, and maybe this is a conversation for the end, but I may forget to to mention it. But so I'll mention it now. The cutscenes, this and the next couple, where they're like encountering data clusters, or it seems like this mission is trying to tell us something. It's really for the weapon.
It is, yeah.
All these stories are for her and the player. It seems like John already knows all this shit.
Yeah.
He's not surprised by it at all. But the weapon is coming to these realizations. So something is at play. Like in universe, perhaps something is at play. Perhaps maybe Cortana left these. I don't know why she would. Or something else left these for the weapon to discover.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're for. They're for her education and to ensure that she doesn't change and become something else.
Yep. I'll keep going with whispers here. The next one is there will be no more sadness, no more anger, no more envy. That's a Cortana. That's from Halo 5, I think, right?
No, that's...
Which one's that one from?
Isn't that Gravemind Cortana?
Oh, that could be. From Halo 3, you mean?
Yeah, from the Cortana mission where she's like green.
Yeah, you're right. There's another one from that mission is you found me, but so much of me is wrong, out of place. You might be too late. That's definitely Halo 3, Cortana, Gravemind mission. And then another one says, you saved us, you saved me, save me from myself. And now this one gets to me. So the last two here, and these are leading up to what the next cutscene is. This is when you're going around to get the power seeds in that room that I mentioned. So you're going around to get you get one power seed, and then right before you put it into the console, you hear the whisper, "Forgive me," and then in front of you, you get to see like Earth, but it's a little fuzzy, like from the hologram. And then Chief and the Weapon like, well, we got to go get the other one. So then you go get the other power seed. And when you get the other power seed, let's see, it says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in the grass, the world is too full to talk about. So you get that whisper, and then once again, right before you put the final seed in, she whispers, "Forgive me again." And then you put the seed in, and then you get this cutscene. That was your cue, David.
Sorry, I was muted. Because the next one's the Atriox one. It's not the one you're talking about.
No, the next one's the Hood one. Atriox is next.
That doesn't pop up in the video I'm watching. Bummer.
Definitely
maybe
does.
they're out of sequence. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. The next one is... if it's the one where Earth pops up, and it's Cortana... obviously talking to Hood, saying your resistance is essentially futile. There's no point in doing this. I know all of your capabilities and you know mine. There's no point. But if you insist on fighting, you will lose. And then it just shows you the Guardian blasting into Sydney and blowing it up. And then there's a brief conversation with the weapons like, oh my god, why would she do that? She attacked you in SC. And John is like, yeah, I took out the headquarters, wiped out all of them. It's not there. But you had to come up with a plan. And she was like, a plan to fight her, and he was like, no, to survive. And then that's kind of in gameplay a little bit, and then it kind of leads off. Like you said, I think you go through. Is that like a teleporter there or a lift? I can't really remember. It might be a grab lift.
I think it's a lift.
Is it a lift?
Yeah, I think it's a lift. Yeah, so Tyranny 2, there is another Tyranny. There's a third Tyranny moment here pretty soon. So, like, when you're seeing this, Cortana... Jesus Christ, right? Like, we knew this bad stuff was going on, but like the Halo Infinite shows it, right? Shows her making these decisions. Krista, how are you feeling at this point?
I'm not as surprised at this one as I am at the next one.
Yeah.
This one I'm like, yeah, I can see this happening. I thought it was kind of fun that
we knew about it already. It was in something else.
What?
I think it was in Shadows of Reach or
the
something,
Sydney
right?
one?
Yeah, the Sydney one.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned it.
Yeah.
But I do like Lord Hood and Cortana fighting. I think that's kind of hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
They're having like a little bit of a lover's tiff.
All right, we'll go to the most impactful one. There is one whisper here. It says, it asked and I answered. For a moment of safety, I loosed damnation on the stars. And that's another Cortana moment. That's from the Covenant in Halo 3. So lots and lots of callbacks.
That's
All
cool.
right.
That's about her giving into the grave mind, the torture. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next scene is the one that took me by surprise and explains a whole lot about this game.
Literally everything.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm so surprised that it's so far into the game before you learn this. But it's pretty cool. So you plug her into another console thingy. Aatrox appears and Cortana's like, Aatrox, leader of the Banished, where do you stand? And he's like, with the Banished, always, forever. He's so dope here. He's so big and she's so tiny. It's so cool.
I know, I love that.
Yeah. And she says, do you understand the consequences of defiance? And he goes, I do. Do you?
Love that.
And she doesn't give a fuck. She opens up her hand and shows a planet. She says, the intricacies of actions are complex, the reactions numerous, yet mostly predictable. She puts up this planet. You see a whole bunch of Guardians around it. And then Aatrox is very attentive. He starts moving around. She says, look upon Dosak one last time and remember you chose this path. So Dosak is the homeworld of the brutes. The Guardians power up and destroy this planet.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fucking shit.
It made so much sense.
Yeah, and then
Like,
it just
all
zooms
of
in on
this.
Aatrox's face and it's like, oh, it's so awesome. And he says, as did you, Cortana.
I
And
love
then he
it.
kind of leaves. Oh, it's so good. The weapon is like, oh my god, she destroyed their home, Esrim Aatrox, an entire planet. How could she do that? Do you want to pause here and talk about this for a second before we go any further in this cutscene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this quick. She destroyed their fucking planet. Good.
Oh my god.
It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Super heavy. Why did she destroy Doizak and not Earth?
Because she gives a shit about humans in some way, and she doesn't give two fucking shits about the brutes.
I feel that way too. She's definitely biased towards humanity. I mean, her whole point is,
Well, the whole
to
thing
be-
was for Chief and humanity, right? Like, this whole thing is to create a perfect universe that she can live with Chief in, basically.
yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't make sense to fucking blow up Earth if she wants Chief to eventually be on her side.
Yeah,
Which is
maybe
what
she's
the-
honoring like the reclaimer status, perhaps, or
Yeah. Well, it was like, what? I mean, she's still gonna be able to use the Forerunner stuff, but I mean, it just goes back to like she wanted to capture Chief and put him in a fucking cryptum and have him wait out. But I mean,
yeah,
no, she's just biased and she's like stinky. She's like, brutes are too stinky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
Smelly
rid of
brutes.
Stinky Planet.
Well, perhaps she knew that the brutes weren't gonna defect to the created
Well, there was no way they were going to, especially not
with
Aatrox,
yeah.
but Cortana didn't
Well, not
know.
the Banished, but maybe other sections of brutes could be, because like they'll go like they can be influenced. Do you know what I mean? They
Well, they were part of the Covenant, so
yeah, the Covenant got in there and took them over with religion, and I'm sure there are some factions that could have been brought over to the Banished.
But are the
Or the
brutes
created-
too much of a kind of warrior society? Like, not like honorable
Yeah, I know
warrior,
what you
but
mean.
like crazy, like.
They're going to fight regardless.
Because Cortana wants a universe where there is no fighting, but
Yeah.
the brutes kind of need fighting is in their nature. It's part of how they kind of just live and communicate with one another. There's always fighting. It's not like the elite fighting where there's like some honor in it. Brutes are just like, I like to kill things and rip them apart on Sundays
eat them
because
a
it's
little
a
bit.
good hobby.
yeah. that
So
could be.
I just don't think... I think Cortana from the beginning did not see the brutes actually going to ever be able to kind of conform to the society she wanted to make anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of think Dosak is kind of like a shithole at the moment. And from what I remember, the Brutes
like a
almost wiped
war-ravaged
themselves out in a
planet.
nuclear war, and then the
Yeah.
Covenant came along. So I'm pretty sure Dosak's not a very pleasant place anyway.
Hmm.
But obviously it's symbolic, and obviously the Brutes feel, and especially the Banish, feel it real hard because their motivations are no clear. This is why Aatrox came here with the Banish to this ring, was to get Cortana. He came for vengeance. He came to get her, and he specifically came after the weapon because he somehow knew humanity had a weapon to fight Cortana. That's why he took off or came into the Infinity at the beginning of the game. That was his whole purpose. And that penny dropped for me like during this cutscene, and I was like, this is so good. Because their motivations make sense. This is why they keep talking about, Eshrams keeps talking about this is our new home, and why the others are trying to get off it. Do you know what I mean? Because
it's twofold. They need a home,
Yeah.
and they also want revenge on Cortana. And so this location, however she got stuck here, which we still don't necessarily know, it worked out perfectly for Aatrox. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, it's pretty brute-like to just live on a fucking weapon. That's something the brutes would do.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
It's pretty
An
metal.
ultimate super weapon.
Very metal. I love that. All right, let's keep going then.
Okay. So the weapon is stunned here. What can happen? She's like, holy crap. And then something kind of dawns on her. The chief kind of goes, it's my fault. She goes, how? He's like, I should have stopped it. I should have reasoned with her. So like, chief feels super guilty. The weapon is like, could you? It was her choice, her programming. And then she holds up her fingers up and kind of snaps it. And chief is saying, what? Was it? I don't know anymore. And then she's kind of dawning on it. She's something that's not, you're not telling me. And she keeps snapping her fingers. And she was like, the only way to access the ring to reach Cortana, but she dawns on it, was to make a copy. Now, in this moment, I'm like, did she not know what she was? I went through that assuming that she did. And it was like, oh, okay. That's a shocker that she didn't know who she was with her origin. I was like, that's intriguing. So I love how it shows her playing back her own memories now of Cortana snapping her fingers, of her snapping her fingers to open doors in her trippy way, but Cortana is destroying planets when she's snapping her fingers. And then she kind of gets it of who she is, and obviously if she has these mannerisms, she's worried about how much else she has related to Cortana. So she's like, holy crap, I'm her. And she was like, you're a copy. It was the only option we had left. You're a copy of If We Never Met. Which kind of plays back to...
Oh, that's so sad,
stuff.
by the
It
way.
is, yeah.
That, like, destroyed me.
And then he says, Halsey removes any information that could compromise you. You're her if we never met.
So
Which makes
sad.
sense of how she doesn't know anything at all about the universe. Oh, it's crazy. But it's kind of what you needed, though, at the same time. Because Cortana was screwed up with all the information she had. And the weapon is like, will I do that? Will I become what she became? Am I that already? So she starts freaking out. And now you kind of understand why John had the deletion protocols. And he's like, my mission was to ensure that didn't happen. It still is. Weapon goes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That wasn't me. It can't be. She kind of drops to her knees. The scene goes all black for drama, for the dramatic effect. You hear a little chippy chirp. She like goes, I've restored the deletion protocols. You can delete me. It was an honor. And I was like, oh crap. She says, I shouldn't be here. It was your mission to destroy me. I was like, he's not gonna delete her. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna do it the first time, but the fact that he actually tried had me kind of shocked. So I kind of like this moment here, the kind of reveal of where John is like, nope. She's kind of saying like, my promise, go rescue him, which is the pilot. And
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
That's her
And
last wish. She's more or less submitting, like, okay, I'm ready to be deleted now, thinking that he still wanted to.
Yeah, and then I like the kind of reveal here of like when it zooms out a little bit. She's not on the pedestal anymore. She's in John's hand, and she kind of didn't realize it. And he's like, "We'll do it together." And she's like, "How can you trust me?" He says, "I don't, but I want to," which is great.
So sweet. Oh my god.
It's so good.
Yeah,
and there we have it. Relationship fixed. Yay!
Now she's not sassy
Yay!
anymore. He said the same thing to the pilot. Remember, the pilot was all pissed off about in the Pelican Down mission. He's like, I want to go find those condors. We got to get off here. He's like, all right, we'll do it after I go take down these AA guns. We'll do it together. So it's a little callback of that. So they're a team. Actually, well, I guess Chief and Weaponer team, and then Chief and Piloter team. But team. They all are a team together. Yeah, that's heavy stuff. I felt
it's
like
super
pretty
heavy.
Well done.
It's like, I'm the maniac.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
It's so sad. She's so sweet. I love her so much. It was kind of a sad moment to see this.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause she's just such a fucking sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah, she's so much, as a player, she's like so much Cortana, but she's not Cortana, right? She's naive Cortana. She has that sweetness, that Cortana. You don't really see that when you're in CE. You see kind of, sure of herself, powerful.
Well, and Cortana always had an air of arrogance about her, even from the moment she was first created. She says at the end of the game, the king and the pawn go in the same box.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of stuff. I mean, Cortana inherited Halsey's arrogance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And maybe when they made the weapon there, Halsey's like, maybe I shouldn't give her my sass. Maybe my petty sass is not good for an AI to have.
Right.
Let's just give her the sweet Halsey that was sad that she left her daughter. Let's give the weapon that Halsey.
So I feel like this moment, they're going for a moment here, and we knew going in as lore people, knew that she was a copy, right? So this realization moment, it still hits emotionally, but it's more like her realization. Her realization that she's a copy is different than like the timing of our realization that she's a copy, right?
Yeah, the fact that I didn't know that it would be a realization kind of is what made it hit so well for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that it's her realizing it, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that she didn't know this, and that these are the things that she's concerned, and then puts into context everything you've been seeing in this mission of like, oh shit, of all the stuff she's been learning about, which is on purpose, so that she won't repeat these mistakes, that she won't become that, and she doesn't want to. But she's trying to, I guess the game, like you said earlier, kind of it doesn't show you the steps in the middle that got Cortana to where she was.
Right.
It kind of skips a bit, but I think it still lands really well, and I love it.
The other thing, I guess this is a question to you guys. Do you think they were going for a BioShock moment here?
You mean like a
Don't spoil it for anybody. But yes.
No, I didn't get any of the vibes of that here.
No.
Okay. I thought that maybe they were trying, but it wasn't the same. It was never going to be the same. But to the player that doesn't have the lore background, maybe they're maybe it just, I feel like maybe they were suspecting and this just confirmed it. So it's a little different than that BioShock.
Well, I mean, in the BioShock moment, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
If you're just first playing the game, it literally comes out of nowhere. It's wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think they definitely alluded to the weapon being Cortana. Even if you had no friggin' idea about anything Halo, you can see the just physical resemblance between the two.
Right.
So, I mean, yes. I don't think it was that... let's make one of them purple, and then no one will know.
Right.
So I don't think... I think a BioShock moment is just something so utterly shocking.
Yeah. My other comment on this is it was also emotional for me to watch this and Chief in this moment, because he said, his line is, my mission was to ensure that doesn't happen. Speaking of you can't turn into Cortana, right? My mission was to ensure that doesn't happen. It still is. So this is Chief's second chance. His second chance to protect an AI, because he, this whole time has been beating himself up. It's all my fault. Cortana's my fault. She did this because I couldn't stop her. All this sort of stuff. So he has an extra layer of, I guess, ownership to weapon. Did you guys get that at all?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that. I think that's kind of grown. Obviously, at first, that meant that I can't let that happen by, I'm just gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm not gonna let it happen by, actually protecting you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which is gonna be weird because, like, super overprotective chief with an AI is gonna be a little awkward in the future.
He was never, like, he trusted her, and that's where they kind of end, is like, I want to trust you. I don't, but I want to.
And he trusted Cortana too. But...
Well, he trusted Cortana 100%, right? Like, he was able to leave her with the Gravemind so he could go do other stuff, right? Like, if that same situation came up here, he probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So. All right. Lots of story stuff. So the mission ends with you just kind of getting out of the underground area. Anything else to add, David?
No, not really. This was incredible. I loved the mission itself. Is nothing, but it's the cutscenes, it's the whispers. It's like it's well done. It's very well done.
Yeah.
This
go ahead, Krista.
Definitely was like just a huge wow moment for me.
Yeah. The only other thing, and this is probably a question for our final, like, our recap episode, but we're essentially getting, like, all of the stuff that we kind of hoped maybe we would play or see in a cutscene or something. The stuff that happens between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite is kind of in this mission.
Yes.
And you see it as a hologram. So it's I guess a little disappointing that we don't get either to play those and count those key moments or see them in a full-on, cutscene. But they're still here. I don't
necessarily agree because 343 has set themselves up to have, because there's a couple years of gappage. So I think we'll see some really good novels come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the time between, Halo 3 and Halo 4. Like, we didn't necessarily see what happened between those two moments in the games, but we got a hell of a lot of really good novels that kind of filled in that gap.
That's true. Any other thoughts on that, Dave?
No, I kind of agree with you. This is stuff I would have liked to have seen better than a hologrammy, but I think this game is doing that. This is how you get the backstory in this game. It's holograms and memories and data clusters and whatever. Yeah. So at this stage in the game, I'm kind of over it, but I wish it was different. But it's fine. We're here now.
Okay. Yeah. So differing opinions, but I think neither of them are wrong, right? So I think you guys both have good points. Okay, let's end it here. Let's rate them. Oh, at the very end of the mission, you decode the final audio log, so you get to see the stuff on your visor again, and then it plays the last audio log, which is the weapon, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But let's rate the mission really quick before we do that. I'll start with David. What do you think?
I give it a 7.
Whoa.
It's not an incredible mission. It's just the cutscenes that kind of give you all the juice.
Mm-hmm.
So you could convince me to go higher, but you don't really do anything very interesting in the actual mission.
Okay, Krista.
I think having such a lore-heavy mission, it's nice to not also have the have really hard encounters between that.
That's true, actually.
I think if the encounters were super oppressive, you would have trouble kind of, taking that information and processing it. Kind of think of like the library or Cortana, where a lot of information is being thrown at you, but it takes so many times to actually process that information because you're screaming and crying the entire time. So I kind of like how this mission is a little slower, just to kind of like set up these huge set pieces in the cutscenes, and you still feel like you're fighting to get to them, but they're not like distracting you from the overall story.
Yep. So rating?
I wanted to go 9, but David made me sad, so I'm gonna go 8.
Well, I'm gonna go 9. Does that change your mind?
Ah, okay, perfect. 9.
Okay, I'll go 8. I'll go 8 because she blew up a planet. Okay.
That was really cool, because I was like, why does Atriox hate everything so much? It doesn't make any sense, because Atriox was kind of meh about humanity up until now.
Yeah.
Obviously, he blames humanity on it because Cortana was a, creation of humans. So
yeah,
and that's why the Banished are real angry.
They are very angry. I'll add just to the encounter thing really quick. I think there are some like tough, like with the chieftains. There's like a lot of chieftains in this, and there are a couple, like the puzzly power seed things aren't that great, but I feel like the encounters are better than what we've seen in the past.
Well, and they had that, like, hidden encounter with the skull, and there was a couple, like, ultras and stuff like that. There are some memorable things, but they're not taking away from the overall story.
Yeah. Okie dokies. Let's do audio logs, and then we'll do community and get out of here.
Woo!
Audio logs. There are two. I mentioned the unlocked one from the recovered files. Is the weapon, and then the second one is the prisoner. Poor Lucas Browning. Audio log number 6 called Price Paid. So let's do the weapon now.
She looks just like her.
If you say so. I see something else, something more innocent. From a simpler time.
Does she know me?
No. She is a blank slate. No memories, no history. Her core is nearly complete. Once it is ready, it will be up to the two of you. The weapon will lock her down. You will retrieve Cortana and bring her back here.
For execution.
For deletion. We are at war, Master Chief. If you do not think you can do this, now is the time to step down. I'm sure Spartan Lock is available.
That won't be necessary.
Good. Tomorrow will test us all.
I love the jab here. Like, Master Chief and Halsey have this special kind of relationship, and she's more or less like, I could have Spartan Locke do this. And he's like, that won't be necessary.
Even Halsey thinks Locke is just terrible. She's using him as like a weapon against Chief. He's like, remember that guy that completely ruined your latest game?
But this audio log is more or less what we've known and kind of what was explained a bit in this mission. So it's just, I do find it interesting that this stuff is unlocked. I think we talked about this one of the last episodes where it's unlocked, but it's not really unlocked for Chief. It's more unlocked for the player because Chief was there. He knows all this shit. Anything to add on this, David?
Nope. It was good to see it, but like you said, it's weird of the when we see it.
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
All right, let's do the prisoner and Lucas Browning's terrible month or 6 months. We'll play it now.
How long has the human been this way, Jack? A matter of days. It seems their feeble minds cannot contain the power of her words.
Close space. Off limits. Still there. They were still there. The only ones.
You should feel honored, human. The truth has apparently set you free.
Price paid. Sentence given. We never knew. So old. So far.
Bring him to her chambers. She has more to tell him. If his mind can last.
Krista, what are your thoughts on Mr. Lucas Browning?
What a poor bastard. That's like the worst life I've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. He just got caught up in something he had no idea what was going on.
So he's gone insane because he's talked to the Harbinger? Is that what I'm getting here?
No, I think he's gone insane because he's been playing with giant sci-fi stuff for the past 6 months as these aliens torture him.
He says closed space, off limits, still there. They were still there, the only ones. I feel like that's alluding to the Endless.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like, I don't know what she's doing to him. I don't think it's just talking, unless she's kind of unlocking, like, memory, like genetic memories in him. Like, is there a Geos here? If she, what is she accessing? It's like, you're right, closed space, off limits, still there. They were still there, the only ones. I'm guessing this is after the pulse, after the rings fired, and they found that they were still here.
Right.
Like, the Endless were immune, and that their space is closed. It's off limits. Don't go fucking near them because we don't know what's going on over there, kind of thing. And then he says, price paid, sentence given, we never knew, so old, so far. So I'm assuming that's like the price that the Endless paid for being immune. That they were given a sentence and we never knew them or whatever. They were so much older so far, and they were just like essentially whatever the auditorium did to them. You can imagine, threw them all into silexes or whatever, imprisoned them, broke them down.
I mean, this isn't the only creature we've seen in Halo that makes people go crazy by talking to them.
Very true. There are multiple.
Yeah, I guess just the power of words.
Right.
So I guess all of our listeners are probably nuts by now.
They definitely are. Speaking of community, let's
Hi,
do some
community.
community questions.
Oh god, what are you guys gonna make me read this time?
This one, this is middle of the road. Some good, some bad.
Okay, well, I'm gonna read the first comment. You're gonna know why it's not a good idea. But the question is, the weapon snaps to make things happen. What do you do? And it's
What do
cute.
you do?
What do you do? Oh, what do you do?
Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do to make things happen? That's how I intended it.
Oh, people have kind of interpreted it like the weapon snaps at you and you do something.
Oh, okay. All right. That's the author's fault.
That's okay. It's okay. Toki McPot says, I gotta make myself hard to make things happen.
I mean, that kind of works.
AJ Dustman says, to make things happen, I think body language is key. I make sure my posture is on point, chin up, shoulders back. I call it happenstance.
Yeah. It's a good dad joke.
Organized Crime says she snaps and I say yes, mommy. Matt says she snaps and I stand at attention. The pesky burb says, I do bottle flips till I cap it and then open the door. Postman Pat says he takes a massive shit. Comet says, light bulb because anything is better than duplicating bullet sponging bastards. Oh, wait, that's from the Spire. Guys, you gotta do the right one, come on. Yep says, I watched Snap complete what I could only fail to do in hours and hours and then cry some and then cry some more. So he's saying that she does things really quickly and he can't do it that quickly.
Got it.
Rygor says, give me some Red Bulls and nicotine and I can make anything happen. Solo Ackle says, alright. Let's open that door and see what the oh shoot camo elites and hunters. Oh no. But let's fight them. So she opened a door into danger. That's very unfortunate. That's what Discord says. They're also complaining that the episode isn't on time, Colin. What's up with that?
Don't look at me.
I have no idea what Discord are talking about. Crazy people over there.
I can't believe people listen so much that they notice and complain about it.
Yeah, they notice.
That makes me feel popular.
Right. David, Facebook?
Facebook. Pretty much took the same route, Colin. So admin Colin, May 19th at 5:13 p.m. Weapon snaps to make things happen. What do you do? Question for Mission Debrief, Halo Infinite repository episode. Nice picture, Colin. Where'd you get that picture? It's a cool picture.
Which one is it?
It's fan art.
It's fan art. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mario Black kind of got it. He says, simple, I fart and make things happen. Not too bad. We have Ben who says he nuts. Jimmy John, I execute order 66.
Perfect.
Logan Hurd, execute every grunt, POW, I see. Alan says, I think I'd wink. He understood it. Star Trek's Q also snapped his fingers. That's what I was thinking of too. Which is clearly the best option for making stuff happen. The other Qs did other hand wavy things that just ended up looking silly. It was really funny. Matthew Blank just has a gif of Peter Parker turning to dust. Patrick, I usually happen to make things snap.
Yeah, like me.
Brad says Q grunt birthday party skull. And then Alexander says, as a thing from Red vs. Blue, says, I do not want to catch pregnancy. And Chris says, what every grown ass man does, the helicopter dick. Lucas says, that one's sassy picture of the weapon. That's one sassy picture of the weapon. And a good thing she doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet. She'd have snapped away the entire universe a few times over. But I don't know, maybe Chief does a barrel roll. Ray says, have relations with the Covenant spy. Kyle says, John Woman 7 voice, are we done here? Armando, to make things happen, I think body language is key. I make sure posture is on point. Chin up, chin is up, shoulders back. And I call it my happenstance. Please don't double up.
Somebody doubled up.
How dare you?
How dare he? Jointy says a backflip. And there we go.
Perfect.
Very nice. Thank you, everybody. We are getting there. I believe there are 4 episodes left. The Road.
Oh my god.
And then what's the next one? The fighty one?
I don't believe you.
The boom.
The breaking?
No, not the breaking. I have it in front of me. It's The Road, and then it is The House of Reckoning. Then it's The Silent Auditorium. 3 episodes, or 3 missions left in 1 recap. So we're getting there.
Hey.
That will do it for a debriefing of Repository from Halo Infinite. On the next episode, we'll be debriefing The Road. Send us your thoughts. podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. For everything Evolved has to offer, visit evolvedhalo.com. Until next time, Evolve.
Evolved.